Chris McFarland, C-Mac, thank you so much for joining us. Just take us through the last 48 hours. How are you feeling?
Oh, I feel really good. Yeah, it's always an exciting time on the hockey calendar. At the end of the day, we're all hockey fans, and there was a lot of big moves, a lot of important moves, and gearing up for hopefully what will be a playoff spot, for us, and then the best time of the year.
Chris, I'm just curious, can you take us through the approach when you're going through something like this with the team that you have, right? How much emphasis is put on what can we do versus maybe you have a staff of other people just checking on what other teams are doing that you may or may not have to go through to get to the conference final, the cup final, whatever it may be?
Yeah, I think, Brian, for us, is the focus was as it always is where do we need to improve? There's obviously some great teams on both sides, and certainly in our division. So while we're cognizant of what they're doing, I think our focus is sort of on, where do we feel as a management team, and certainly the coaches, where our needs are, and then meshing what assets we have, and who we might be able to get, and fit them in under the cap, and what they add to our mix. So that's primarily where the focus for us is.
Chris, sometimes it takes multiple years, it feels like, to get a center ice turnover like you guys had this year, adding a Drury, getting Charlie Coyle, Brock Nelson. Could you just talk about how deep you guys are at that position now?
Yeah, I think that's the right word, Mike. I think we're a lot deeper. Ross Colton can play middle. Parker Kelly's done a great job, for us in the 4C all year. I think in the last few days, the addition of Brock Nelson, who's obviously the body of work that he's done in his career, with the Islanders speaks for itself. It gives us, a 5-on-5 point producer, a guy who's going to touch our power play and have a big role, and then you add in a Charlie Coyle, I think is, probably a coach's dream type of player, because he's big, he can play 5-on-5, he can probably contribute on both special teams, and it's something that we didn't have. He's another a righty shot for Bedsy to kind of be able to mix and match as he sees fit, both game to game and in game. So we're happy with those two additions.
C-Mac, the last 24 hours just scratches the surface of what you have done over the course of the last few months. What was the strategy in the front office going into the season?
Well, LG, it certainly wasn't, that you don't go into September or October, thinking we're going to have to, make X, Y, and Z moves. I think you might, know some areas of your roster where you'll, think you'll have to tinker, but we had to do I think a little bit, more than obviously we would have liked. But I think some of the moves were necessitated. I think injuries played a part of that. I think, Brendan McNicholas, our great PR guy, told me, I think we're at like 40 or 45 guys, this year. So, that's a little bit of the adversity that we've had to play through, and our guys have done a good job. So, doing some of the moves was dictated by that. And then obviously the last few days trying to sort of round peg, round hole it to make the roster as complete as it possibly can.
44 players is remarkable. And with the injuries and what you had to start the year, it's incredible where you guys have come. Your players now are probably used to different lineups and understanding that there's injuries that might happen. My question now is there an approach from you, or an understanding from the leadership there? You have great leadership with the players, that you got a Brock Nelson and you got a Charlie Coyle, two guys. Like Brock Nelson's been in Long Island forever, and Charlie Coyle, I know he was traded to Boston, but that's where he's from. Just to get them acclimated, like, forget about on the ice stuff. How can they be as comfortable as they can and welcomed and be really a part of that team? Is there an approach for them?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brian. We have Aaron DeGraff, who's a dynamite team services person. Her and Brendan McNicholas do a great job in sort of welcoming them, and we want them just focused on hockey and make life as as easy as possible in the transition. We know, we're uprooting lives on trade deadline day. They quite often they have obviously a family and that sort of thing. But, to come into their new family and get acclimated on the ice is sort of the goal as quick as possible as the next 20 games is gonna go by in a split second, and then it gets really jacked up. So, we're excited to get, both of them, go and get here hopefully tonight and be ready to go against a great Toronto Maple Leafs team tomorrow night here at Ball Arena.
Chris, we talked about you guys getting significantly better. The West, the Central, everybody. The elephant in the room, though, is got to be Dallas Stars got better. And a lot of people think that it's going to be you guys in the Dallas Stars in the West. And your guy you think very highly of, Mikko Rantanen, is now there. Out of your control, but kind of weird, right?
Yeah, no, like, look, Mikko is we all know, we know better than probably, the whole league knows how great he is. We know firsthand how great he is and what a dominant player and super person that he is. And, the Dallas Stars are a great team, and adding him, they're going to be super excited for all the right reasons. So, but there's a lot of great teams on both sides, and also in our division. Winnipeg's been the lead horse all year. They're a dynamite hockey team, and the Minnesota Wild, the St. Louis Blues are pushing and battling, and so there's no easy nights, Rupper, but certainly Mikko's game speaks for itself, and they're super excited, and they should be.
Yeah, I can only imagine. T-Mac, it's hard to believe that it's been nearly 3 years since your team hoisted the cup down in Tampa. It was so fun to be there with everyone. And you want to talk about the leadership in place. Of course, Gabe Landeskog, your captain, that was the last time he saw game time. And then, of course, you brought back Eric Johnson, who just snuck in, the last second of the deadline. Can you talk about the leadership with this club? And is there any sort of timetable on Landeskog? You can give us the tea.
Yeah, I wish I did, LG. And I think the Gabe is battling and grinding and rehabbing, and everything seems to be, on a positive direction. But obviously 3 years, right? Like there's sort of no playbook. It's he's got a great staff helping him, including our guys here. So hopefully we'll see him at some point, but there's no guarantees on that. And I think with the leadership group here, obviously Nathan and Kale and Devon Taves and Arturi Lehkonen and Josh Manson and Devon Taves, like we've got a veteran group that have kind of been through the battles together, grown up, together, and have significant playoff experience. So that's one thing I don't have to worry about is, Bedsy does a great job with coaching and the preparation, but I think, our guys, they can be coaches themselves and do a great job keeping the standard high.
I got two quick ones. Number one, you got Miles Wood, Jimmy Vesey, now you have Charlie Coyle. Probably need a few more Boston guys there if I really was going to be bullish on the Avs. What was stopping you from getting more Boston guys? And I want to know when that bell goes off and you guys are done, what happens in that war room with the scouting staff and management? Is there a cheers of any libations?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting, it's probably, a week or 10 days where sort of the calls kind of percolate, and you kind of think of different permutations that may or may not be available and the conversations. So, today that's now Brian, as Joe Sakic tells me, it's up to the coaches and the players to get her done, and we can kind of breathe a little bit for the time being and hopefully enjoy some great hockey. So, as far as the Boston guys, we had Greg Cronin here on our AHL staff for a long time, and Kevin McDonald here as an assistant GM. So, yeah, we do have a Massachusetts flair. There's no doubt about that.
Hey, don't let Brian bully you into talking positive about that. He does it every day. I want to ask you this last one. Appreciate you taking the time. We were together in Columbus briefly a long time ago. It's been great watching your progression and climbing the ranks and getting to where you're at now. So I want to ask you, from all the experiences of trade deadline time, is everyone just its own animal? Like, is there anything that you learn from one to the other, or is it just you're kind of going in there and you're just going to be on your toes?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rupper. I think they're all kind of different, right? Like everybody, I can tell you one thing: adding is can be more fun than subtracting. Subtracting can be tough, right? Because it's a competitive thing, and you wanna be making a push for the playoffs, and if you're in this business long enough, you're hopefully you're going to see every side of it. But I think everyone is its own animal, and you have different things that you want to address, whether it's for your roster now, or maybe it's a piece for the future type of thing. And so I think everyone's unique, but I know that being in each one that you're involved with is a great experience, and a cherishable memory, that's for sure.
Hey, C-Mac, we really appreciate you joining us, especially on such a busy and stressful day. Before we let you go, real quick, I need to know, I'm sure everyone at home needs to know, what do you do to unwind? Is this like a steak dinner type of night with a whole bottle of wine? What do you do?
DUCC game tonight.
More hockey.
Grinding.
I love it.
No,
Got to do it.
So it's all good.
I absolutely love it. Well, enjoy the game. And yes, shouts out to Brendan McNicholas and, of course, Aaron, tremendous staff that help put this all together, and that will help make the transition for those players coming to Colorado that much easier. Thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the game tonight.
No worries. Thanks a lot for having me. Appreciate it.